with Mamon.
Dito lang sa nag-iisang himpilan, Kool FM. Lahat ng drama, tawanan, balita at all-time favorite music hits. Sa lungkot at ligaya, kami pa rin ang inyong kasama. We're the place where you truly belong. Mula sa TVH Group of Networks, ito ang inyong himpilan. Ito ang inyong tahanan. Number 1 sa Mega Manila. I'm from Kool Studios. This is koolNews Primetime.
Good evening, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. It is now 10:46 p.m. and this is koolNews Primetime. Before we begin, we would like to apologize for the late start of the newscast, as our fellow Kool FM team were busy with important matters. So we like to apologize for some inconvenience for those who were expecting news to start at 10:30, but this was not the case today. But it's okay. We had a lot of time. We allocated a lot of time to do the interviews with the potential new Kool DJs, and we will be announcing who are the two new Kool DJs in the later announcement. So look forward to that. Let's begin with our quick headlines. A bill that seeks to classify actions of nuisance candidates as election offenses has been approved by the House of Representatives on third and final reading. During the session on Monday, House Bill number 11317, which seeks to amend Batas Pambansa Building 881 or the Omnibus Election Code, was approved with 193 lawmakers voting in the affirmative, 4 in the negative, and 0 abstentions. If enacted, a provision will be inserted in Section 69 to include running for office just to obtain money or profit as grounds for cancellations of one's certificate of candidacy. In addition, if House Bill number 11317 is signed into law, filing a COC that violates the grounds under the amended Section 69 will be considered as prohibited acts or election offenses. Kapat Party List Representative Raul Manuel, however, said that he voted against the bill's passage because he believes that the risk carried by this bill outweighs the benefits. According to Manuel, if the bill becomes a law, it may wrongly penalize aspiring public servants who come from less privileged backgrounds or those from independent parties. Manuel said the candidates will come from poor families, those who come from less privileged backgrounds, and those from relatively less established parties, or those running independently would be at a disadvantage because of an uneven playing field in our politics and elections. Manuel further said that other candidates who have a record of human rights violations or abuse should be the ones who are disqualified or declared nuisance candidates. He said, "That's why, Mr. Speaker, if we would say who deserves to be disqualified, honestly, there are individuals more deserving of being declared nuisance candidates, although they do not fit Kamlak's current criteria." Proposals to penalize nuisance candidates acting in bad faith and to possibly criminalize such acts have earned support from the Comelec. Last January 21, Comelec Chairman George Erwin Garcia said that there are instances wherein candidates are paid by a politician because he or she possesses a name that bears a resemblance to an opponent's identity. According to Garcia, the nuisance candidates must be fined, if not jailed, to learn their lesson. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives on Monday approved on second reading House Bill number 11376, which proposes a 200 peso minimum wage increase. The bill was approved by a viva voce on voice voting. No committee or individual amendments were made, but before the bill was approved, Assistant Majority Leader and yet 3rd District Representative Ana Victoria Veloso Tuason said that they will be placing a substitute bill to House Bill number 11376 under Committee Report 1384. Mr. Speaker, there being no committee amendments, I move to proceed with the substitution, Veloso Tuason said. She added, earlier we distributed to the members copies of the substitute bill to House Bill number 11376. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Section 106 of our rules, I move to amend by substitution the entire bill as contained in Committee Report number 1384 with the contents of the substitute bill earlier distributed to all the members, she added once again. Initially, it was unclear why there was a substitution of the bill, but copies of the substitute measure under Committee Report 1384 provided by Gabriel Party's representative Ariling Persas showed that the key difference would be that the wage hike would apply to minimum wage earners only. Previously, the bill called for a 200 peso across-the-board increase to wages, which would have impacted higher salary owners. The proposed 200 pesos per day salary increase for minimum wage earners is higher than what the Senate has approved. Last February 2024, Senate Bill number 2534, which proposes a 100 peso daily minimum wage increase for private sector workers, was approved on third and final reading. House Bill number 11376 is a substitution to House Bill number 7871, filed by TUCP Party List and Deputy Speaker Raymond Mendoza, which sought for a 150 pesos across-the-board wage hike for all workers in the private sector. The Magkabayan Bloc, on the other hand, filed House Bill number 7568, which seeks a 750 peso wage increase. The Western Mindanao Comment, or West Minicom, is tracking the movement of 3 Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy vessels monitored to have earned the Philippine waters on Sunday, February 2. Mayor Orlando Raylon, West Mincom Information Officer, said the 3 PLA vessels that included 1 Renhai class cruiser guided missile, 1 Jiangkai class frigate 2, and 1 Type 903 Fuji class replenishment oiler were first monitored in the vicinity of West Philippine Sea on Sunday, navigating to Mindoro Strait towards Sulu Sea. Lieutenant General Antonio Navarrete, West Mincom commander, assured the public that the armed forces of the Philippines would always be committed to security and sovereignty of the state and the integrity of the national territory. According to Navarrete, it is expected that the 3 PLA vessels in Philippine waters will be transiting through the international passages within the maritime domain of the West Minicom, the Cebu Passage, and the Basilan Strait. As archipelagic sea lanes of communications, these passages allow the transit of vessels and of other nation states subject to the compliance with national and international laws and procedures governing transits and innocent passage, Navarrete said. He, however, noted that the 3 PLA Navy vessels transited without prior diplomatic coordination, emitting unusually slow speed with 4 to 5 knots. This is not consistent with the principles of innocent passage, which requires continuous and expeditious passage, and that the vessel should not linger in archipelagic waters longer than necessary, he said. To ensure maritime security, the West Mincom has deployed 2 Philippine Air Force aircraft, a C-208 and 1 Nomad N-22, to monitor the passage of vessels within the country's territorial waters. The Joint Task Force, or Poseidon, West Minicom's lead maritime security arm, has also dispatched Philippine Navy vessels to challenge and shadow the PLA Navy vessels as they pass through West Mincom's area of responsibility, according to Navarrete. The PLA Navy duly responded and invoked freedom of navigation and innocent passage. The littoral radars of the Philippine Navy also continuously track the movement of the said vessels. The Navy's PRP Jose Rizal first spotted the 3 Chinese vessels 57 nautical miles southeast of Panatag or Scarborough Shoal while on a regular maritime and sovereignty patrol and issue consecutive radio challenges. The presence of the Plan in the area reflects the People's Republic of China's complete disregard for international law and undermines the peace and stability in the region, the Naval Forces Northern Luzon said in a separate statement. On June 6 last year, the Naval Forces Western Mindanao intercepted 3 Chinese warships off Pilas Island and Santa Cruz Island and engaged the warships in the radio challenge. Among the spotted ships was the Dudodao-class dispatch ship Dongjiao 93 of the Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy East Sea Fleet. It was escorted by a Type 071 amphibious transport ship Jinggangshan with Penta number 999 and another similar one according to Navarrete. This is koolNews Primetime, 6 minutes before 11 p.m. And as we head over to international headlines, U.S. President Donald Trump announced he was cutting off all future funding to South Africa for confiscating land and treating certain classes of people very badly an accusation his South African counterpart rejected on Monday. Trump wrote Sunday on his Truth Social platform. The land issue in South Africa has been long divisive, with efforts to redress the inequality of wide role drawing criticism from conservatives, including South African-born Elon Musk, the world's wealthiest person and a powerful Trump advisor. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa last month signed a bill that speculates the government may, in certain circumstances, offer nil compensation for property it decides to expropriate in the public interest. South Africa is confiscating land and treating certain classes of people very badly. I will be cutting off all future funding to South Africa until a full investigation of this situation has been completed! Trump wrote. Pretoria argues the bill does not allow the government to expropriate property arbitrarily and must first seek to reach agreement with the owner. However, some groups fear a situation similar to the Zimbabwe government seizure of white-owned commercial farms, often without compensation after independence in 1980. Later, in the briefing with journalists, Trump said that South Africa's leadership is doing some terrible things, horrible things, without giving examples. So that's under investigation right now. We will make a determination, and until such time as we find out what South Africa is doing, they're taking away land and confiscating land, and actually they're doing things that are perhaps far worse than that. The South African government has not confiscated any land. Ramaphosa responded in a statement Monday, adding that the recently adopted Expropriation Act is not a confiscation instrument. It is a constitutionally mandated legal process that ensures public access to land in an equitable and just manner as guided by the Constitution. We look forward to engaging with the Trump administration over our land reform policy and issues of bilateral interest, he said. The U.S. remains a key strategic political and trade partner for South Africa. And on the heels of two safety incidents involving South Korean budget airlines within a month, concerns over air travel safety are growing among passengers, prompting many to forego cheaper fares in favor of legacy carriers. Among them is 27-year-old Lee Ji-yoon, who, while booking her upcoming trip to Osaka, Japan with a friend, opted for round-trip tickets priced at 400,000 Korean won or $275 instead of a budget option, half that price. Lee told the courier held, "Normally, I would go for the cheapest option because going to Japan from Korea is such a short flight. But the recent incidents involving budget carriers made me feel uneasy about flying with them. I felt like my safety would be better guaranteed flying with legacy carriers instead." Concerns over budget airline safety escalated following two major incidents. On December 29, 2024, a Jeju Air passenger aircraft crashed during an emergency landing, resulting in 179 fatalities out of the 181 people on board. Though the exact reason behind the crash is yet to be confirmed, issues such as excessive flight frequency and inadequate safety maintenance were raised following the incident. Less than a month later, on January 28, an Air Busan plane caught fire at its tail before takeoff. The incident fortunately resulted in no deaths, but speculations have still arisen as to whether the airline is liable for professional negligence regarding carry-on luggage, with the cause of the fire suspected to be a portable power bank stored in an overhead compartment. Lee is not alone in her reluctance to fly with low-cost carriers. Yeah, no? Yikes. Alright, it is now 1 minute before 11 p.m. As much as we want to cover more headlines, we only started koolNews Primetime at 10:45 p.m. But we will be resuming our news headlines on koolNews Primetime tomorrow at 10:30 p.m. So yeah, again, on behalf of that, we will to apologize for those who were late. We started late at 10:45 p.m. With that, that brings us to the end of koolNews Primetime. We will return with more news headlines with koolNews at noon tomorrow, along with koolNews at 6 and koolNews Primetime at 10:30 p.m. Until then, you can also send us your comments, suggestions, and feedback to our email at tvhthephilippines.news@gmail.com. Until tomorrow, or until then, I'm Cairo. This has been koolNews Primetime. Coming up next on Kool FM is Totoy na Lamang. Good night.